Hello, my name is Dave Counihan. I'm with Hibernia Nurseries. We're located out in South Sumter County. And basically what I produce is landscape materials that goes into the construction industry, and primarily new construction. So as the construction industry declined, I realized I better go and make sure that my lines of credit are in order. And I had a line of credit with the Bank of America, and they told me, no, your lines of credit have been suspended. And I thought, well, what exactly does suspended mean? It means you've got no money, basically, is what it means. So at first it didn't really mean much to me. I didn't really need any cash, and I let a little while pass, and I said, you know what? This economy isn't getting any better. I better shore up some money for myself. And so I went along the course of doing that. And I think it's quite funny that I'm up here giving a testimonial for the bankers when I don't really have a whole lot of good things to say. Sorry, guys. Anyway, I put together everything they talk about in great detail. I have a ring binder this big, and went to one bank after another, and then waited for a reply from some great person in the sky that takes a month to give you a reply for some reason. Always to hear no. So finally, I was about to give up, and I said to myself, you know, I did what Dwayne Devine did, the guy on earlier on. I took out a yellow pad and I wrote on it, where's the money for me? And I looked at it, and I thought about it, and I thought about stimulus money. And then I said, okay, well, where am I going to get stimulus money from if the banks won't lend you any? And I said, you know, the government isn't necessarily giving the money to the banks, but they're giving them to organizations, and I need to look at the USDA. So I called up the USDA, our local USDA office in Tavares, and I queried them on the availability of stimulus money. And after a lengthy conversation, I discovered there was some stimulus money available, didn't really fit the criteria I needed for it. And this is after a long interview. So I said, well, go ahead and just send me down the paperwork, which arrived at about 2 or 3 pounds of paperwork. I looked through the paperwork and said, there's no way I'm filling that out for that amount of money. So then I was at one of these town hall meetings in Mineola. And yeah, and I'd already been talking to Jean for a number of months prior to this occasion. And I was telling him my story that I couldn't find cash anywhere. Everybody talks about the stimulus money. You go by banks, they all say they want to lend money, but you can't get your hands on it. And Jean said, wait a minute, you need to talk to Ocala. And I said, what's that? He said, the USDA in Ocala. And I said, well, wait a minute, I've talked to the United States Ag Department, they said there's no money available. He said to me, talk to Ocala. So I talked to Ocala, and they said to me, of course there's money available. We've plenty of money. And I said, well, how do I make an application? And they gave me the name of a guy. They said, you need to go through this person. He'll package the loan for you. If you come directly to us, you'll never get it done. So I go to Steve, a guy by the name of Steve Small down in St. Petersburg, who specializes in putting these loans together for the Department of Ag. And he says to me, go ahead and send me some financials down. And I said, yeah, how long is this going to take? 6 months? He said, if I accept you, it'll take 60 days. And in a nutshell, 60 days later, we closed on $2.5 million. And I was surprised that we did it in 60 days. I didn't believe it for a minute. He came up to the location, he spent 2 days in our location, he completely understood what I was doing, and he put together a package. Not only that, it wasn't just government money we got, it was USDA stimulus money we got that had come available that he found out about. They cut the origination fee from 2% to 1%, and they eliminated all maintenance fees over the lifetime of the loan. It was a savings of $135,000 on the origination loan, on the origination fees. So the story is, I do have some little notes here. One is that you need to clearly understand what your needs are for the loan. You need to know what you're going to use the money for. You need to have a clear idea of what your objectives are going in to get the loan. I was able to lay out the objectives up front. I'm going to do this, this, and this, and I want this. So I set the groundwork before I even got to the bank or the loaning institution as to what I wanted. I didn't get everything. I got about 80% of what I wanted. The other thing is identify the lending institution that you want to get the money from. Not all lending institutions will lend to your industry. I think it's Bank of America, at the time we're specializing in homes. You've got to try and find a bank that specializes or wants to lend money to your industry. I don't know if these guys will say that's correct or not, but that was my experience. Finally found entities that wanted to lend to agriculture. The other thing is, once you find a group of entities that want to lend to you, do your homework on those entities so you know who to talk to when you go in there. Just don't talk to anybody. Just don't talk to the first loan clerk that you see. You need to do your homework to see who you need to speak to and go in and ask for that person. And the other thing then, of course, I met Jean, do your networking to keep following up till you find where the money is. But it's there. Thank you.